Congratulations on the win. To kind of get the uglier part out of the way, do you have any updates on Delem and Fry as far as their injuries?
No, we're going to bring them home to Seattle and assess them there.
Next question, we'll go over to Nico Moreno. Nico, go ahead and ask your question, please.
Thanks, Alex. Brian, obviously, congratulations on the win away. Another win for the team. But how do you feel right now after obviously getting 3 more points away against a good team, but losing or having some downfalls that you probably wouldn't want to have?
MLS is a hard league. It's not easy, but the team is going to continue. What I would say, Nico, is if you saw the spirit of the team in that game and the amount of effort and energy that guys put into it after Delem's injury, Shane O'Neill comes on with not much warm-up and does a great job. And then you see the fight in the team as the game is winding down. Then you see Alex Roldan being brave and making plays and the team rallying around, Steph. This team's not done. So we'll get the next man up and we'll keep moving and we'll keep fighting.
Next question, we'll go over to Jeremiah Oshan. Jeremiah, please ask your question.
Yeah, Alex told us that Christian basically nominated him to get into goal. He said he kind of talked it over with you. What was that conversation like with you? And I mean, what's going through your mind when you're having to select one of your field players, presumably none of whom have any experience with that?
The conversation will remain private. You just figure out who you think can do the job, who has good hands, who might have played, basketball. You just figure it out. You got to make sure you don't gut the team as well. You need to pick a player that, Christian was influential in the middle of the field. But yeah, Alex, Christian and I had a conversation on the field and I settled on Alex.
Next question, we'll go over to Maz Vida. Maz, please go ahead and bring yourself off mute.
Hey, Brian, obviously this was a great team effort. What can you say about the back line and their perseverance and communication they needed to be able to play, quite a different attacking with Wondolowski or the young guys coming in?
Maz, there was a great team effort led by, many different people and led by different groups of people, which, in the way I view things, you have to get yourself right first. The players have to get themselves to maximize their potential. Then you work as little groups, the 2 forwards, 3 center backs, the relationship between the wing backs and the guys playing in front of them. There's all those little nuances where when you get an individual to play well, then smaller groups and it goes and grows into the big group. That's something that I'm extremely proud of about this team because they absolutely delivered tonight. They came up with plays and did things and were able to figure stuff out in one of the most, oddest games that I've been involved in, losing 2 guys to injury like that. I don't think I've ever been involved in a game where a goalkeeper's been injured when we didn't have subs. So again, credit to Alex. What I would say is a lot of people have written this team off. Some people, don't think this team is good enough to win a championship. I disagree. I disagree completely. And we're going to keep going. We're going to keep fighting. And if that game is any indicator of how proud those guys are, I think we got a good chance.
Next question is over to Alonso Contreras. Alonso, please go ahead, bring yourself off mute.
Thank you, Alex. How are you, Coach? Congratulations for the win. You were mentioned last press conference that the team has to pressure more, and tonight they were doing it in the 90 minutes. I would like to ask you, what do you decide to make a 3-4-3 formation for this game, and how physically are the players after this rough game? Thank you.
3-4-3 is another variation of having 3 center backs. So I'll let all the people that talk about tactics think about why we did that. I think it worked for some parts of the game. I thought Kellen and Ethan did a good job. They went and pressed higher up the field, which is what we wanted to do. Some people thought we were going to come here and just sit back and defend. That wasn't the case. It's not the case that we wanted to deal with our game plan tonight. So, again, some people didn't think we could win the game, but, that team has belief.
Next hand I'm seeing up in the queue here, guys. And just a reminder, if you want a question, hit the raise hand function button. I'm seeing Jada again. Jada, please ask your question.
I guess if excuse me, just a little bit of a continuance on that one. As far as the formation, you did have to make an early change because of the injury to Delem. But were you able to see enough, I guess, from that formation variation that you did like throughout the game, or did that also, the player change also mean that you had to do a little tweaking?
No, I mean, look, the game was going in a direction where it was 1-0 at halftime, and I thought, Jada, we needed to get just a little bit more possession of the ball to try and close the game out. So that was a reason for inserting Freddie Montero into the game. When he came on the field, you saw he had a couple of clean touches, was able to connect some passes, and that was the reason for that change. But the overall tactics, again, still you start with your back line of 3 center backs, and then you can make adjustments. The team understands that, and again, they performed well tonight.
Nico, I'm seeing you again. If you have a follow-up, please go ahead and ask it.
Thank you, Alex. Brian, obviously, first of all, I got to praise for you putting 2 young players here today. I wanted to know your perception and what you thought of Danny Leyva and double-layer performance today, and how does it feel that regardless of how you put them, the concepts and what you want players to stay true on the field, on the way they attack, on the way they defend, their organization.
Nico, I don't know. I can't understand your question because you were breaking up. I will talk about Ethan and Danny. They're 2 fine young men. They're good players. They've been in the first team training environment long enough to understand what we want to do. They understand the principles of how we want to play. So they get it. They understand it. The challenge for young players, any young players, to go out and execute the principles of play that we have. The tactics, there's always little nuances with the tactics, different part of the field, different ideas. But the bottom line is they understand how we want to play, and they did a great job.
Thanks, Coach. You answered the question. I just wanted to know, regardless of what formation or, if it's a 3-5-3 or whatever formation you put on the field, it seems like players understand their roles and their concepts. And I just wanted to know exactly what it was why it was that players understood their role regardless of the formation.
Well, I thought I answered that, but 3-5-3 actually makes 11, Nico. So that's not a valid formation. So again, I'm having a little bit of a challenge listening because you're breaking up a little bit. Whatever the concepts are, whatever the tactics are, again, Danny and Ethan did a great job. They're smart players, so they adapted and they did their job.
Guys, okay, Maz, I'm seeing you here. We'll do 1 or 2 more. So Maz, go ahead and ask your question, please.
Yeah, Brian, MLS, just soccer itself, there's no giving anybody a break. Short week, you got another game coming up here. I mean, just how do you all handle that in terms of psychologically and getting ready to play another tough team that doesn't care what happened to you, and they're trying to come to win?
We've already addressed it in the locker room after the game, Maz. The guys are ready to play. Whether it's a young kid, whether it's an older veteran guy, like I said, a lot of people might write us off. Whether it's a midweek game, they don't think we can win, or regular season, Jordan Morris's injury, people don't think we can win. we'll just prove them wrong.